to mixed status families, as they're called, if those mass deportations are carried out. A mixed status family, that means some family members are undocumented while others are U.S. citizens. Well, the American Immigration Council, a pro-immigration advocacy group, estimates up to 4 million mixed status families could be separated. Now, mass deportations, of course, became one of Mr. Trump's biggest campaign promises. It's still unclear exactly how those deportations will be carried out and how families will be impacted. But we're getting some information. And we have NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley joining us with her latest reporting here. Julia, good morning. So you've reported exclusively this month on a bunch of this stuff here, but that the Trump transition team specifically is eyeing new detention centers near major U.S. cities, with the goal being to hold double the amount of migrants awaiting deportation after their arrests inside the U.S. Walk us through exactly what that means. Double what? What is that number? What does that mean we might see? Are we getting a clearer image of how this is going to go down?
Right. So right now, the Congress has given ICE the ability to be able to hold 41,000 immigrants in ICE detention at one time. That doesn't mean that they can't deport more, because it's a place where they hold them before they are deported. And right now, a lot of that space is being used for migrants who have just crossed the border, they're detained, and then released later for a court date. This would use those beds in the opposite direction and double them up to 80,000. And honestly, Savannah, since that reporting, I've heard the number could be even higher. And they're in talks with private prison companies to figure out what they can do to get the most amount of beds online soon. That might mean building temporary facilities or soft-sided facilities. They've used this in the past along the border when there's an influx in order to get as many people in beds as possible. This would be for migrants who are living in the United States and are arrested and are being held before their deportation flights.
So, Julia, given what we know, I just used that term mixed status family. So some family members, U.S. citizens, others undocumented. Are we hearing what those types of people, what those groups of people are doing to plan for this?
And this is where I have to give credit to Didi Martinez, who wrote this amazing story over the weekend. I can report on these details, but Didi really gets to the heart of this. She interviewed a family, and there are many like them. We understand up to 4 million across the country that could be separated. This family she talked to in Pennsylvania is preparing for the possibility that the husband, the father of these children, could be deported. And so the mother is busy getting her children's passports. As you know, you have to have 2 parents present to get a child's passport. They're doing things like getting power of attorney. In some households, we're told, where both parents could be deported but the children are U.S. citizens, they're putting together packets with adult contacts, where to find the nearest family member if they come home from school to an empty home. Savannah.
Julia, walk us through any legal challenges that could play out once President-elect Trump is in office, and if we do start to see these mass deportations take place.
Well, there are many being prepared quietly in the background. We saw just last week the ACLU filed for freedom of information to try to get more information about what the Trump transition team is going to use for their flights when they start doing these deportations. We can expect that they're going to be very closely looking at how Trump tries to go about this. If he does enact an old law from the 1700s that would constitute immigration in the United States as an alien invasion from a foreign power, they'll very quickly challenge that, saying that's unconstitutional because clearly these migrants are not coming on behalf of a foreign government, that would be a real stretch for the Trump team to try to make that argument. They'll also look at other things, like if there are ways they go about this when they want to invoke the military, anytime that they want to push anyone back to a country that is not their own. We've seen the previous Trump administration try that in the past, take nationalities and send them to a country like Guatemala, even though if they're not from Guatemala. There are a number of ways they'll challenge it. Whether or not they can just deport someone or challenge someone just for deporting them, that seems like more of a stretch. But it's the way they'll go about it. They'll find ways to challenge it in court.
Julia Ainsley, fabulous reporting as always. Thank you very much.